Uh, my personal teaching philosophy is really just centered around the fact that every student can learn, and I think it's really important that we never try to teach like in a one size fits all manner. Students are all different, they're always at different levels, and I think that's really key to meet them where they're at. So they're having a quality learning um, encounter and that the classroom is a positive place for them. Um, I strive to meet every student's needs so that they can grow when they're in the classroom. And I just always want to keep that as the center of my teaching, that every student needs to be learning. They don't need to all end up in the exact same place, or because they're never going to start off in the exact same place. It's important to teach in a way that students can connect to the material. So I've really found like doing different games, doing songs, but also instilling that there is a way to use technology, or still paper and pencil learning for quieter learners, and just finding the balance in that. That's something I've really learned this year. I've always been in really high energy classrooms, and I've learned that that's not always the best way to meet every student's needs. Some of them learn a lot better when it's quiet, so you have to meet the kids that do better getting up singing and dancing, and the kids that just want to have a quiet conversation about what they're learning. And I always plan to keep growing because I will always like search out to collaborate with my peers and other teachers in the building. This year I've learned more than anything like how much that benefits a teacher, which benefits the classroom, and just can set a whole different attitude for an entire grade level when the teachers can count on one another. And I will always try to grow by doing that. And I also have really learned that seeking information on my own through articles like Edutopia and the Coloring Colorado, I've used those so many times through my studying, and I found so much helpful information that I've used. I will always read those articles, and not even because I have a particular place I want to grow, but just like keep learning, because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So I plan to always just be a lifelong learner. That's really important as a teacher. Using technology is something that I have really had to set a goal for this year. So it's been fun to learn, ways to use it for spelling and use the interactive whiteboards, and just get to try a lot of different things with technology that comes from our curriculum, but also just try things. Most importantly, I've learned to use the Chromebooks that have interactive games that you can tailor to where the students are at. So again, you're teaching them where they're at, not trying to do cookie cutter teaching, because kids are never all the same, so it just doesn't work. And I will be using Christian worldviews in my classroom to teach children about being compassionate and always seek to understand one another. Kids are learning to balance their emotions, and they might not have been around a very large variety of people, and every family has their own standards. So teaching students that in the classroom we always have to seek to understand one another and solve any conflicts that can arise, and learn about each other's differences instead of have it be a stress. And I also want to teach my students about their personal choices and how that creates integrity in them, not just like to be rewarded, but what you do when no one is around is really who you are. And I learned this year that teaching that through like a superhero lesson for my littles, my primary class, is like really great, because superheroes don't use their powers to benefit each other. They help others and for the greater good. And I will use that to teach those Christian worldviews that we want to help one another and lift each other up. And that's just my teaching philosophy.